I don't know if you're asking about the front or the back. Either way, the answer is yes. What up, everybody? It's your favorite knight, and today I'm bringing the answers to the 25k Q&A. I'm sorry that it took so long for this video to come out. I was working on some other stuff, had to put some projects on hold. And I also went to Comic-Con to cosplay as a Bloodborne hunter. If you want to see more of that, just go to my Instagram, because I made one just for that kind of stuff. Quick FYI, not all of the questions that you guys have asked me will be answered in this video, so if your question is not here, you'll have a reply from me back in the video where I posted the 25k Q&A. After all, I did promise that I would answer all of your questions one way or the other. Anyway, let's get started. Viporiox555 asks, how does your wife feel about you simping over Monster Hunter waifus? God, that's such a good question. Okay, so she's not my wife yet. First of all, we're gonna get married next year. Secondly, let's hear from her directly and see what she says.
Hi, I'm Abby. I'm the fiance. I mean, I quite like them, to be honest with you, because of the anime titties and all that. I don't care at all as long as you share them with me. It would only be a problem for me if you started, you know, bringing them into the bedroom and all.
Simple answer is, she knows that it's not an obsession. I just like anime titties as most humans do. Plus, even if she doesn't fully understand it, I do derive greater meaning from these characters, not just waifus. Like, I talk about Artorias and how he has taught me lessons that I've applied to my real life as well. She knows the worst that can happen is I'll spend a little bit of my money to buy a figure of the character, but it will be nothing risque or anything like that. Truth be told, shit like this only becomes a problem when you are really obsessed and you spend a lot of money and time and you sink every single bit of resources that you have into like a fictional character, which is never gonna happen with me. I mean, come on, I'm not that cringe. Next up, let's get to some Monster Hunter questions. Rex here has been a long time viewer of the channel. I really appreciate your support, my man, and your kind words as well. And his question is, what crossover would I like to see in Wilds? I'll give you the most truthful, honest answer I could ever think of, which nobody has probably ever mentioned before. My absolute favorite collab or crossover that I'd like to see in Wilds would be Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I know that in the past we've had a Yu-Gi-Oh! Collab where the Palico had a Dark Magician costume, but I want to take it a step further. I want to be fighting Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I want to be able to craft armor and weapons out of that thing. Like, dude, Blue Eyes White Dragon has been my favorite dragon character monster thing ever since I was a child. To this day, I think that design still bangs. Plus, just the potential of making like his lasers look so bright and shiny, and maybe even, I don't know, fight him in a unique arena, or I don't know, dude. There's so many possibilities. I'd love to see something like this. Next up is TDR_88, who's been here for a while. I remember you asking me a question back in the 5k Q&A. God damn, we really have come a long way since then, haven't we? Anyway, the question is, what is your favorite monster in every Monster Hunter game you've played to hunt? Not what monster you like the best, but what monster you like to slap around more often. See, here's the thing, my man. I kind of mix in a lot of different aspects into my favorite monsters, with the main one always being the fight. Like, if a monster looks cool and has cool gear, but then the fight's kind of meh, it never really makes it into my favorite monsters. Anyway, let's get right to it. For Monster Hunter 1, the answer is Plesioth. I really like Plesioth. I know that a lot of people think it's a meme and that I'm fucking around. I'm not. I genuinely like this monster. I do like that he's kind of goofy. I mean, he's a fish with legs, kind of like a dragon thing, but I think he's cool. Try is super easy. I mean, it's Lagiacrus. I literally just made a video talking about how much I love this monster and how hyped I am that he's coming back. He's like the Rathalos of the sea, man. You can't go wrong with Lagiacrus. I'm really split when it comes to 4 because it's either Dalamador or Gogmazios, although I really haven't fought Gogmazios properly yet. And man, these two monsters are just so cool. I love them so much for different reasons. They fill in different niches, but if I had to pick one, I guess I'll pick Gogmazios. My pick for both World and Iceborne is gonna be Legiana. I know a lot of people are gonna curse me out for this one. I like Legiana, okay? I don't know what to tell you. Not Shrieking. Shrieking sucks, but Legiana, the base form, is awesome. GU is another really easy one. It's Falstrax. I mean, he was my favorite monster for the longest time, so, you know, he's basically my second favorite at the time right now as well. Rise and Sunbreak, it's again, like, dude, this is so easy. It has my favorite monster in the entire series, which is Primordial Malzeno. I mean, what is there to say? This guy's literally the perfect monster in my eyes. I love him so much. Since Wilds isn't complete, this answer may very well change, but right now my favorite fight in Wilds is Zoshia. It's very cinematic. I love the monster. I love the twist of it turning from crystallized guardian to literal fucking demon, and that's about all of them. Let's move on to the next question. Klaxo here is asking, what is your fondest memory throughout your time playing Monster Hunter? That's a pretty tough question to answer because there's so many moments of playing Monster Hunter that are special to me for different reasons. I'm really sorry, I can't give you one exact answer, so I'll give you a couple to make sure that I make up for it. My first stream, I think, was one of them because I was very nervous for it, and I just kind of went for it with no real plan. And since I already had an audience, I was kind of afraid of letting you guys down with low quality content, but you guys were also welcoming at the time, and you still continue to show me that support nowadays, so I think that stream really made me feel special. Then there's my trip to Germany, which I went there as just, a solo guy wanted to play the game, and I met a bunch of creators, made a bunch of friends, hung out with some of you guys in the community. I ended up meeting so many people that I look up to, like Jono, Ryozo, like the fellow creators that I mentioned before. To this day, it feels like Gamescom 2024 was just unreal, like I was dreaming or something. And on the same train of thought, when Capcom invited me to go to London and play Wilds exclusively in a creator event. It was just nuts. I had such a good time hanging out with like Jono and a bunch of other creators. I barely slept like days before this event because I was just so happy. Like, you guys brought me to that point where I was getting recognized and invited to these events. It was there and then that I understood just how much of a big impact Monster Hunter has had in my life. Not only do I love the game, I now have a community thanks to it. I have a hobby slash side career, I guess, thanks to it. And I've had the privilege of having such exclusive experiences because of Monster Hunter, and by extension, because of you guys. Anyway, one more Monster Hunter question from Tribal13. I'm so glad to be a part of a community. Well, thank you very much. I know that you've been around the channel for a while as well, my friend. And you're asking me what crossover would I like to see in Stories 3. First of all, Capcom, heed this man's words. Stories 3 will absolutely bang, and I'll do anything in my power to make that game happen. This might piss you off, Tribal, but I really just want to see that Yu-Gi-Oh crossover happen. Like, again, imagine you have a Monstie that is a Blue Eyes White Dragon, or a Red Eyes Black Dragon, or whatever kind of monsters you have in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I just think it's a franchise that has so much potential, and I just haven't seen that kind of intertwine, right? But just so that I don't repeat myself here, I would like to see some sort of returning characters from Monster Hunter Stories 2, namely Kana. Stories 2 did this. I mean, the characters, or a lot of the characters in Stories 2 come from Stories 1, but they've grown up and they've evolved, right? And I think not just for the sake of continuity, I think, there's potential in making armor from these characters, weapons from these characters. I think there's a lot of potential there as well. Now let's move away from Monster Hunter and talk a little bit about other games, because a lot of you guys have asked me questions along the lines of, will I make, videos for games outside of Monster Hunter? For example, Arcton asked me if I was willing to expand to other games, like the new Subnautica game that's gonna come out soon. Machete Penguin asked me if I'm willing to move into sci-fi games, which is funny because the background footage that I'm using right now is Battlefront 2 stuff. Jiga's asking if I'm considering making videos on Lords of the Fallen. We're gonna go back to this question later because it's gonna be relevant. And then we have Ashi asking if my channel would be about any other game, what would it be about, and would likely just be a game from the Soulsborne series or just the Soulsborne franchise as a whole. There were plenty of questions around these lines, like why do I only stick to Monster Hunter? Why do I not make videos about other games that you guys know I like? Or why don't I try new things? The truth is, guys, the YouTube algorithm is absolutely unforgiving when it comes to you as a creator doing things outside of your regular stuff. Granted, I'm still a beginner at all this stuff, and I'm not really that good at making content, although I'm not saying this to deprive myself, I'm just saying that there's room for me to improve. However, like I said, the honesty of it is whenever I try to do something not Monster Hunter related, YouTube does not push that video out. I love Monster Hunter, and I make Monster Hunter videos that I think are interesting, that I think are worth bringing to you guys, right? Because this is still a hobby slash side hustle, I have the privilege of not having to worry about constantly uploading, always being relevant, and talking about topics that I don't really care about or that I don't think are that deep. I make content that I think is entertaining one way or the other, whether it's a fucking joke like the waifu videos, whether it's a discussion video that I'm getting more and more into. But one thing that I understand, and I don't mean this in a bad way, is that viewers are picky. They watch content creator X for topic A, not topic B. And even if creator X makes a video on topic B, they already have a guy for, topic B. They have like content creator Y. A great example of this here on the channel are these 3 videos, 2 of which got an insane amount of views, more so than my usual, and one of which barely scratched 1,000. Arguably, not a lot of people are interested in the topic that I made for Elden Ring Night Rain, but at the same time, I don't think that's fully the case. However, in recent history, things have been a lot better. I made that one video for Lords of the Fallen, I was so passionate about it, I made it in a day, and that video bombed. It did over 60,000 views, which for me is a lot. And while the video right after it didn't do insanely well, dude, a video like that, with just gameplay and me talking shit, would have scored maybe 500 views. So the fact that it's done over 4,000, again, that's huge for me. I stick to Monster Hunter because it's where I'm most knowledgeable, I can make better jokes, better content, and also because I know that the YouTube algorithm is pleased when I make Monster Hunter content. However, I am slowly but surely making a little bit of a branch to another topic, which is Souls games, more specifically Lords of the Fallen, and also Elden Ring Night Reign, because I have a couple of videos planned for that game as well. You guys have no idea how much I wish I could make this happen. If I could just show you guys every single game and, you know, make good content on it and have it be rewarded with decent numbers, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But the truth is, the algorithm does not do that for a channel as small as mine, and also I am not as good at making content for other games. I still need to improve myself. But don't lose hope, guys. I'm trying. I'm slowly branching out to more topics, which doesn't mean I'm gonna stop covering Monster Hunter. I still love Monster Hunter, but I will slowly branch out to more things, and I would really appreciate it if you guys engaged with these videos as much as possible, because that shows YouTube that this content is worth putting in the algorithm. Up next, we're gonna cover some more questions about me as a creator, like why am I a VTuber, why is my VTuber looking like a knight, all those questions, right? Starting with Table, who is asking if we will have more in-depth look at my lore in the future, as you guys don't know much about it at the moment. I really want to say yes, because I have an entire backstory written for my character. And it's a very important story because for me, it kind of reflects a fantasy version of my real life. But here's the thing, VTubing and lore stuff, it's an expensive type of project to make. In full transparency, I don't really make enough money with YouTube to fund those kinds of projects. Do you guys remember the first lore video that I did? That video cost me over £500 to make, which in the grand scheme of things isn't necessarily a lot, but for one video, that is a lot of money. I don't make that much money here on YouTube, and I'm not saying this to, you know, so you can feel bad for me. I make some decent pocket money with it, but cards on the table, I don't make that much money with YouTube, and I don't have enough money in my personal life to just put into projects like this. I know I have a wedding to pay for next year. I will admit that I'm not good at monetizing. I'm not a business guy. I make this for passion, and that is both a virtue and a problem, because that means that I don't cash out on opportunities that I should, and I'm looking into improving, like potential sponsors and all that, because as much as I hate to say it, sponsor segments about things that you potentially don't care about go a long way towards helping content creators. So yeah, going back to your question, Table, there is lore, there is a lot more to show you, but you know, having the funds to create the formats necessary to show you these things is expensive, and right now it's unrealistic. Next up, there is a couple questions surrounding my VTuber's design. Bobby brought to you, U24, Quacktastic, among some other people who asked the same question. You guys want to know, where did I get my design from? For starters, I work with many artists, but my concept artist and good friend Ava is the one who's responsible for creating the design of my character, and you can find their Twitter in the description. Now, there is both an easy and a more complex question behind my design, right? Full transparency, I really like knights, not just because their armors look incredible in the fantasy setting, it makes it even cooler, but also because a knight's code translates into loyalty, dedication, self-improvement, being humble. These are characteristics that I aim to always improve within myself. I don't think I'm a loyal, honorable knight. I try to be, but I have a long road ahead of me in order to become the man I truly want to be. And in order to get there, I will walk the path of the knight as long as I can. In terms of design, the characters that I mainly get inspired by are characters such as Artorias from Dark Souls, Goblin Slayer from Goblin Slayer, and I also looked at a bunch of different clone armors from Star Wars to try to get some ideas to present to Ava on how I would like my armor to look like. And there is one bigger thing, which is, like I previously mentioned before, I have a health condition, and it affects me pretty badly, but it's not life-threatening, don't worry. It does make my body a little bit more fragile than I would like it to be, or that I'm used to it being, but being a knight, like this idea of just, you know, wearing armor and being tougher, it almost makes me feel normal. Truth is, until the end of time, as long as I can make content creation, I will always be some variation of a knight. Before I had this like paladin design, now I'm more grounded on a knight. You know, and if the channel grows and I get more funds to make newer models and all that stuff, I definitely would like to become a knight captain and maybe even a royal knight one day maybe a king, who knows? Then we have Recon asking a pretty good question, which is, when did I first become interested in becoming a YouTuber? It still feels weird to call myself a YouTuber because, you know, I know that I upload, but I'm not really a professional, at least not to the degree that I think I should be. But yeah, I guess I can't deny it anymore. I guess I fall under the classification of being a YouTuber. Truth is, I've always been an entertainer at heart. I like making people think, make people laugh, make people just, you know, have a good time in general. And I've always had a passion for media as well. Like, I studied media, I was a professional, and I still am a professional within, you know, the media industry. But despite despite being a professional in the media industry, I still wanted to do something that truly spoke to me, which was talk about video games. This could be an entire video on its own, but I've had a pretty unstable life compared to most people. I moved around a lot in my life, and so family and friends and all that jazz was pretty unstable, but the one constant of my life was video games. And when I think back about the first video that I made, when I saw it reach so many views, I just wondered how much further I could go. After a while, I decided that it was time. I wanted to, have a VTuber model. I wanted to have, a proper brand attached to me. I wanted to try and make videos more often. And it's not like I've had a miserable life before I started doing content. I had a good job. I have ABBIE. I have friends. Those are things that were there before YouTube. But there was just this part of me that wanted to make people laugh, make people talk about things that they're nerdy about. That part of me was just always itching, and it just drove me crazy. And when I saw that I was actually entertaining people, that people were actually tuning into the videos, they were commenting, they were liking, they were debating, they were laughing, that's when I decided now's the time. I need to do this. This is an opportunity I just can't afford to miss. Listen, this might never turn into a career. I might just have this as a side hustle / hobby forever, and I'm okay with that. In my opinion, the reality of becoming a full-time content creator relies on a lot of different things like time and dedication. Yes, those are things, but luck is a very deciding factor here. And even if I don't have the luck of becoming a full-blown creator full-time, I know for a fact that I love doing what I do, and I will keep doing it for as long as I can. If I didn't yap as much as I did, I would have been able to put Muria's question earlier in the video because I kind of just answered it, but I'll talk a little bit more about this. Because he is asking if I would ever consider transitioning to a full-time content creator if my channel were to get big enough. Sorry, not if, when. I love the optimism. Outside of all those things that I mentioned regarding luck, the truth is that I have a lot of room to improve as a creator. I need to be more consistent. I need to explore other avenues like shorts and, Twitch streaming, which I recently started doing a little bit more of. I need to have a more business-oriented mindset, not to the point where, I backstab all my friends and become the worst creator on the platform. Hashtag if you know, you know. But I need to become smarter. I need to think about how can I deliver good content while still making, decent money to support myself. After all, I got bills to pay, and I got a future wife that relies on me being financially stable. So, I can't just not think about business stuff if I want to make this my full-time career, which I do. If the opportunity ever truly presents itself, then yes, I'll do everything in my power to do this full-time. It is my dream. But I also recognize that to get there, I gotta work a little harder. With all this in mind, Proud Goblin, which is a great name by the way, has asked me, how does the future of the channel look? Truth be told, I didn't think I would make it this far to 25,000 subscribers, at least definitely not this fast. I never thought I'd be friends with the guys behind RX Gaming, or Josh from Rage Gaming, or Dark Hero, or any of the other people that I'm friends with that are also creators. Content-wise, I'm still going to be covering Monster Hunter, and I will do discussion videos for topics outside of Monster Hunter that I think are worthy, like I did with the Lords of the Fallen stuff. At the moment, I am still in the mindset of, I have the privilege of doing this as a side hustle and a hobby, so I don't have to think too hard about making this into a profitable business. But at the same time, I do want to become a little bit more business oriented. I want to, maybe hire an editor or hire more artists to make the channel look better. For a more solid example, I will be covering Night Rain, and I have a couple of videos planned for that game, and I want to do content surrounding that game because I love Souls games, and I think Night Rain's going to be a great deal of fun. And I think that Lords of the Fallen video that did over 60,000 views really did show that sometimes you can get lucky and you can make a video about something that isn't your main topic and it can do well. Like I said, there is progress. Videos that weren't about Monster Hunter would maybe score 500 views, and now some of them have reached as far as 6,000 or 5,000 on the regular, and that's huge. One of my favorite content creators of all time just so happens to be a VTuber called Giga, that gorgeous woman, oh my god. She said something that has truly cleared my mind on how I should proceed as a creator. Not to think of the end game, not to think of being big and famous and make lots of money, but to enjoy what I have and enjoy the process of coming up with new creative ways to do better, to become bigger. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move forward trying to make the channel look better, trying to make the videos include you guys more, trying to make things that appeal to you outside of just Monster Hunter. And I also want to improve my Monster Hunter content. I can do better, and I will try to do so. But it seems like it's time for me to close this video. I mean, I am literally starting to lose my voice. I don't know if you guys could hear it. I hope you found this Q&A to be interesting and insightful, and I'm looking forward to do another one of these, but I don't know when. But we shall worry about that another day. For now, you know the drill. Stay safe. and until we meet again.